I was reading the comments in these videos that I make, and somebody made a comment, Mark, you need to create a video where you walk through truly comprehensive financial services the way you define it, the way you deliver it to your clients. And my thought was, I've done that. But in their comment, they are swearing that I haven't. So maybe I haven't. The purpose of these videos really originally was just to be a voice of someone that's been delivering truly comprehensive financial services to clients for many, many decades at a high level. In other words, dealing with affluent clients and individuals and families, not corporate clients. And then also a voice of reason in an industry that's kind of gone crazy, because the idea that we have standards around things like this, comprehensive financial services, you would think that there's an industry agreed upon standard, and there's not. So I thought, well, I'll start doing videos. I'll answer questions. I'll give my opinion of the big issues, and maybe it'll help somebody. So maybe I haven't. Maybe I have not really step by step gone through that way that we define comprehensive financial services, because frankly, it drove me nuts. This goes back 20 some odd years ago. It was the year 2002. I did a deep dive, saw that there is no industry agreed upon definition for this term. And so I trademarked the term truly comprehensive financial services so that I could sit down with potential clients and detail for them specifically what that means and exactly what they're going to get. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to walk step by step through truly comprehensive financial services the way we define it, the way we have been delivering it since 2002. And I hope this helps. So here's how I define truly comprehensive financial services to all our internal team members when they first come on the team. This is exactly how I walk them through it. So we'll take it step by step. The first thing I'm going to do is walk you through the traditional model that the client is used to. And so you need to realize, as I'm taking you through this, what I'm about to show you is a completely new and different business model from what the client is used to. So let's start by going through the traditional model. You have an affluent client or an affluent family. Let's call that your ideal client. What are they used to, or what do they think the model is? The client's got all these people in their lives. They have a tax accountant. They have somebody managing their money. Typically, it could be a stockbroker. It could be an investment manager. They might have a financial planner. Most of them have an estate planning lawyer, somebody that's created their wills and trusts. They may meet with them regularly. They may have not met with them since they created their wills and trusts, 10 years ago. But there is often somebody in place. And all these wealthy people have insurance people floating around in their lives. It might just be their auto and homeowners agent, but oftentimes there's somebody that's been talking to them about life insurance or annuities or something like that. So let's just say I had to decide for truly comprehensive financial services, what are the 5 core areas? Now, there's nothing magic about 5. Are there more areas of personal finance than tax, money management, financial planning, estate planning? And insurance, by the way, is a subset of the actual category in our system. Insurance falls underneath something that we call risk and safety. So when I'm thinking about what are the critical areas for a client to make sure that they are accomplishing their objectives in a very smart way without things falling through the cracks, the industry kind of focuses on insurance, but the clients, and if you're thinking about this sort of as an academic exercise, the broader category is risk and safety. The question is, after a client has created a thorough strategy for their financial affairs, then has someone who's skilled in the area of risk management and safety created a comprehensive written lifetime plan to reduce the risk of the plan. The plan has risks associated with it, that's for sure. So the question is there also a plan to mitigate or reduce or keep an eye on those risks and manage them? So insurance is what the industry thinks of in the financial services industry, but in truly comprehensive financial services, it's really risk and safety. So the point is, there are other areas of finance. If you were to say, aren't there other areas of personal finance than these 5? Yes, there are. I made a command decision back in 2002 when I trademarked this term, truly comprehensive financial services, so that I could define for a client something that I don't think any other firm can. Maybe there are firms out there that can explain to a client what they mean when they say they're delivering comprehensive financial services. I don't know. I think it's rare, but all I can speak for is myself, my firm. We are very precise. We tell the client we are providing you with truly comprehensive financial services, and here's exactly what you're going to get. So I trademarked that term because it's a very precise definition of the specific deliverables that we're going to be providing them. What's the client used to before you come along? It's traditional financial services model where the client hires all these people. These people aren't typically talking to each other. They frequently don't know each other exists, and nobody's coordinating the team. Or put it another way, if there's any coordination of these areas at all, it's the client. The client has hired these people, and if there's any coordination in the traditional model, the client's the one that asks them to talk to each other, okay? So the client does the coordinating. Now, what does this lead to? What do I typically encounter in finding clients in this traditional model? Well, there are some, let's call them usual gaps. There's some gaps that are just prime to be filled by someone. Why not you? So the client may or may not have ever thought about this, but even if they've created a financial plan or if they've hired some CFP to do a financial plan a year or two ago, is the plan actually being used day to day, month to month, year to year to keep the client on track and to make financial decisions? Like, how often is the plan actually pulled out, made current, and utilized for routine course corrections? I'm saying maybe that happens in some cases. I'm sure it does. I'm just saying I never encounter this. I've been doing this 40 years. I can probably count on one hand the number of clients that have a plan that's current, that's being used to measure success so they know whether they're on track or off track at any moment in time. And the plan is so current and proactive that it is actively used to make course corrections when necessary. Now, the usual gaps for most affluent families is there is no plan, or if there is a plan, it's not being used in that way. And therefore, because there's no plan, there is no measurement of success. So you ask an affluent family or an affluent potential client, are you on track or off track to your goals? And they'll say something like this very often. They'll say, well, I'm on track. I'm sure I'm on track. Yeah, I'm on track. And you go, well, how sure are you? How many objectives do you have? Oh, we've only got 2 or 3 objectives. Are you on track or off track to those 2 or 3 objectives? I'm sure we are on track to all our 3 objectives. Okay, fine. How much confidence? Scale of 1 to 10. How sure are you? And they'll say, 70, 80%. Well, let me tell you, as a matter of the real world, the reality of the situation, if it's true that there's only a 70% chance that this client family is on track to their objectives, well, let's be honest. If this was back in school and the grade was a perfect grade on a test is 100 and you make a 70, that's low passing. I mean, that's like a D. So you're telling me a multimillionaire family has a 70% assurance in their own mind that they're on track to their goals. Let's just be honest and call it what it is. they're not using anything to measure success. They frankly don't know for sure whether they're on track or off track. And when we sit down and do this because we want to help them, when we actually sit down and establish the objectives, and of course, this is them telling us, like the family's telling us, here's what we want to accomplish, here's our goals, then it turns out they're not on track to all their goals often. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're on. The point I'm making is the gap is they're not sure. And there's no oversight. So if the tax accountant's making a recommendation that creates problems for the money manager, well, they're unaware of it. There's no oversight. Or let's say the insurance agent for the client comes and makes a point that they recommend that they buy some additional life insurance. Like, is that being coordinated with the estate planning lawyer or anybody to make sure that that is well aligned with the overarching plan? Usually not. And let's say the money manager contacts the client or the stockbroker or whatever and says, hey, we need to sell these investments. Who's picking up the phone and coordinating with the tax accountant to see what the tax implications of that sale of securities might be? It's typically not happened. It is happening sometimes, but not always. But you get my point. These are the usual gaps. There's no plan that's currently being used to manage the financial affairs. There's no measurement of success. So the client doesn't know for sure if they're on track or off track, and they know it if they think about it. They know that's not the case. And there's no oversight. Nobody's really coordinating all this stuff. So those are the gaps. That's the opportunity that you can come in and fill. So what does the client think their options are? Okay, they recognize that this is a problem. They want to fix it. So what is their natural instinct? Well, I'm going to go to the people on my team and see if I can find somebody to fix this. So the client goes to their accountant, or they go to their stockbroker, or they go to their financial planner or insurance agent. They go to somebody they've been working with and they say, hey, I need someone to coordinate all these areas and make sure that I'm always on track to my goals, make sure nothing falls through the cracks, make sure I'm making better decisions on my money. To which it's very common, one of these people, maybe the certified financial planner, says, I'm happy to do that for you. And so the client starts investigating that option with them, and they say, so how do you do that? Like, what's your process for that? And of course, the client's thinking, they've got a team like tax expert or estate planning lawyer or somebody on their team, because what are the odds that one individual is a one-stop shop? What are the odds that one person has enough truly deep knowledge in all 5 of these areas to be able to school someone who has spent decades in that area? So, let's say a financial planner or an insurance agent says, yeah, I'll coordinate this, and I will create something that doesn't exist in each of these 5 areas, and that's a plan. So I will create a comprehensive written lifetime tax strategy, or it will include tax and estate planning and financial planning and all these areas. And when the client says, wait a minute, let's get this straight. So then you're going to create this strategy that doesn't exist, and you're going to coordinate with my accountant that I've had for 30 years that's a real expert in the area of tax, and you think you can school or teach them something? If I got that right? And the answer is basically yes. So now, I'm not telling you my opinion of this. I actually think there are experts out there that have a pretty deep knowledge of all of this. I am going off client data. So I went to the trouble to really confirm, what do clients think about this? And the clients think about this in this manner. They're skeptical. They are skeptical that a single individual has such deep knowledge of all these 5 areas that they can coordinate the existing team of people that the clients put together, that each of those areas are being, the person at the helm has been doing this for more than a decade. The client is skeptical. They just don't like the one-man band concept. Now, I'm not commenting on whether it's true or not. I'm just saying the clients are skeptical. So what are the clients wishing they could find and are frustrated that they can't find? Well, they're looking for someone more like an orchestrator, somebody that is not doing all of these 5 areas, but someone who has built a team, an orchestra, with these 5 areas, with experts in each of these areas on their team. So what they are hoping to find is a financial advisor who's got an existing team. Let's call it a tax subject matter expert who has lots of deep experience working with affluent families, creating tax strategies, financial planning, money management, estate planning, tax, all these 5 areas. Let's see. Let me run through them a little more organized. Money management, financial planning, estate planning, tax, and what I'm calling risk and safety, which includes insurance planning. What the client was kind of hoping for, can't I find some firm where the advisor that I'm working with, the lead advisor, is more like just an orchestra conductor. It's not like the orchestra conductor jumps down and sits in the first violin chair when the time comes and starts playing the violin. No, the orchestra conductor is orchestrating, and they've got experts in each of these instruments playing the different instruments. And I'm saying, no, but I will create it. So our different model is that I will be your most trusted advisor. Let's call it your lead advisor. You come to me and I'll do the 2 things that are not in place for you right now. I'm going to create a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy, not just a financial plan like you're accustomed to. No, I'm going to have my team, my tax accountant, my chartered financial analyst and money management that's on my team, my certified financial planner with decades of experience and working with planning objectives for affluent families, my estate planning lawyer, and my risk and safety expert, who is not an insurance agent, but is more along the lines of wrote the textbook on risk management. So I've got a team of 5 people, and each of them is going to create a strategy. So you're going to have a comprehensive written lifetime tax strategy. You're going to have a comprehensive written lifetime money management strategy, financial planning strategy focused on your goals and objectives and achieving them, an estate planning strategy, a risk and safety strategy. So you're going to have these 5 strategies. And my team will reach out to your team. You don't have to fire your people, but because your team has not been creating a strategy and there is no coordination or oversight between them, my team will step in and fill those gaps. My tax expert will reach out to your tax expert just to coordinate things, make sure everything's perfectly aligned. Our money management expert will reach out to your money management expert. And most affluent families don't have all 5 of these already in place. But even if they do, it doesn't matter. Our team will reach out to the client's team. The only team member that I don't allow to continue if they hire us is their financial planner. So if they have a financial planner and they don't have a financial plan that's current and it's being used to manage and make course corrections and it's being used to measure success several times per year, well, then I just say, well, the one thing that we'll have to change is we will create the comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy. We will provide oversight, in other words, coordinate with your current team, but we don't need your financial planner because we've got that covered. But all the other 4 areas, our person will coordinate with your person. Things will continue as before. And our data shows that if you can create a structure where they don't have to fire their brother-in-law who does their taxes or their neighbor who is their estate planning lawyer, and it would just be really awkward, even though they don't see this person professionally, but every 10 or 15 years, I created a strategy around what clients want, which is let me keep my team and let you just fill the gaps. And that's what works. So I step in, I become the orchestrator. I reach out to the client's team. We work out a method for the future, like how our recommendations going to be handled and all that. We have documented processes for all that. That's the way we do it. Now, how does all this delivered from the perspective of the client? So I've just explained to you how we explain it to our team. This is how we explain it to the client. We pull up that chart where we show we have a team of 5. Our team of 5 will coordinate with your team of 5. We will create something that doesn't currently exist, which is a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy. So we will create strategies and tactics. Tactics are nothing more than here's the strategy. Here are the tactics, which are nothing more than the action items and recommendations that you need to take action on to keep this plan on track. So we will create the strategy, and we will oversee and create and direct the tactics to make sure that everything that's supposed to get done will actually get done, with 3 outcomes. So more on this in a minute, but what is it that we were trying to achieve with Truly Comprehensive Financial Services that, according to our data, the clients were screaming for, but were skeptical or were convinced was not actually happening? Well, it's pretty basic stuff. 3 outcomes of all this strategies and tactics in 5 areas. The client wants to make sure they're always on track to their goals. So that's one outcome. Make sure the client's on track to their goals, or else we create course corrections and make recommendations to the client to get back on track. Second thing is nothing's falling through the cracks. We are so proactive that no planning opportunity is missed and there are no surprises. So it's not like you get 2 months before tax deadline and your tax person says, oh my gosh, there's a $40,000 tax bill that I didn't anticipate. So the 3 outcomes of Truly Comprehensive Financial Services are: you will always be on track to your goals. You will never miss a planning opportunity, and there won't be any surprises. And you'll make smarter decisions around your financial affairs. And that's not according to me. It'll be you at the annual review telling me, wow, we are making much better financial decisions in all areas of finance, not just investments, not just financial planning, but everything. And so those are the 3 outcomes. So the question is, how do you deliver this to the client? So I explained to the client, we have something we call the 3-meeting process. And these are some ground rules. The client has to agree to this. The client has to agree that both spouses have to show up to all these meetings. Now, how does this unfold? Well, the 3-meeting process, I'm not going to go through the whole thing in detail, but it breaks out into 2 parts. The first part takes 104 days. It's with every new client. We invest 104 days creating a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy. And it takes that amount of time to create the strategy, reach out to the client's team, coordinate the strategy, make sure everything's perfectly aligned. And then after 104 days, the team presents it to me. I bless it. We present it to the client. And now we're ready for the next phase. The next phase is what we call releasing the client into the routine 3-meeting process. So after the strategy is created the first time, then we have a meeting. We call it the Comprehensive Safety Review. We're meeting with the client once every 4 months. That's 3 times a year. Thus the 3-meeting process. So we tell the client, we're going to meet with you every 4 months forever. And no client ever fires us. It's these 3 meetings every 4 months forever. And we tell the client that we cycle through all the issues so that we ensure those 3 outcomes, that the client's always on track, that there's no surprises, nothing's falling through the cracks, and that the client is making better decisions on all their finances, so that we're meeting with the client frequently enough to review major purchases. If they're buying a vehicle or whatever the case is, we're on top of it. So we tell the client we're meeting every 4 months, and we need you both there, both spouses. And we always keep the next 12 months of meetings booked on the calendar at all times. So right now, pull out your calendar. We're going to schedule all the meetings for the next 12 months. And then every time the client comes in for a meeting, we replace the one that we're doing now with the one a year out. Now, do clients ever reschedule, or do clients ever get nervous about booking a meeting a year from now? Yes, but I'm persuasive. I tell them, better we have it on the calendar and have to reschedule it than we just forget to have the meeting. So we book them a year out. Now, why do I do that? I am sticking to the data. Back in 2002, I established what are the top 5 complaints that clients have about financial advisors. Well, 2 of the 5 top complaints had to do with the meeting structure. One was complaining that I meet with my advisor too often for nothing. It's like we meet quarterly, and it's just usually I go in there and I hear a little lecture about the markets or whatever it is. Anyway, whatever the complaint, one of the top 5 complaints is the meeting structure. Okay. So we did the hard work and we said, well, what would the perfect meeting structure look like? It comes out that, the 3-meeting process, you can't please everyone, but this is the process that pleases the clients the most and the team. Keep in mind, we've got a team behind us now, and the team needs access to the client periodically through the year in order to do their work. So what's the least number of meetings per year that we can have to where my team is happy and the clients are happy? And that's what you're looking at here. And so one of the complaints is just the meeting frequency. And the other complaint in the top 5 complaints is many clients say, I don't know the next time I'm going to be talking to my advisor. Now, I know a lot of advisors have resolved that one, but I'm just saying from a process standpoint, how do we eliminate that? And I played around with several things, but in the end, we just booked meetings a year out. That way, every client understands when they're going to be meeting with their lead advisor, their most trusted advisor, like at what points in the year are they going to be meeting with that individual for sure. And they are never unclear about that. It's always booked a year out. So that's that. Now, let me just sum this up because I want to move fast. What are we actually doing to deliver on those 3 outcomes? That the client's always on track to their goals, nothing falls through the cracks, which means we are not going to allow any surprises because we're proactive. And then number 3, how do we help a client in all financial areas? Good grief. I mean, what if they're replacing the roof on their house and it's going to be $40,000? Are we involved with that? Yes. So, I mean, there's insurance implications. All I'm saying is those are the 3 outcomes. It's more a question than an answer. It's like, what would we need to do if we delivered on those 3 outcomes? And it boils down to this. Truly comprehensive financial services from an internal perspective, from a staff perspective at my firm, it's 10 client deliverables. We have devised 10 client deliverables across these 5 areas of finance. Each of the 10 client deliverables has a checklist of what needs to get done. Picture this in your head. I have 5 subject matter experts who are keeping an eye on 10 client deliverables, and there are a checklist under each of the 10 client deliverables that have to get done on an annual basis. How many checklist items are there total? 142. So our commitment to our client is we will deliver on these 10 client deliverables. That means internally, we are going to be cycling through a 142-point checklist so that you're always on track to your goals. Nothing falls through the cracks, no surprises. And you're making better decisions about your money in all areas. Okay, so that's it. Now, I'm going to pause. You tell me, were you aware there are 142 items on the annual checklist to make sure those 3 things can be delivered upon? And maybe you do, maybe you don't. I'm not judging. I love financial advisors. And I'm not saying that advisors don't do a good job. They do. What I'm saying is what I just described just didn't exist when I created it. It's a very specific service with very specific outcomes committed to clients, 3 outcomes, and then a checklist that creates the greatest probability that we actually deliver on those 3 outcomes. And a team structure where everybody's kind of expert in their niche so they can spot whether anything's going to fall off track or not because they're experienced and they're skilled in their area. So that's it in a nutshell. And, we've been teaching this since 2002. I mean, it was 2002 when Bill Bachrach pushed me out on stage in front of his clients and said, Mark, you should be teaching this. Why not? Share it with the industry. And I have. And so that's what we've been doing since 2002. I'm happy to share it in this format. If you can implement it based on this, fine. Or any elements of this, fine. That's fine. I'm happy. If you want to work with us, work with us. We are certainly available. And, this is what we do. And my goal here is just to walk through it. Expectations. All right. So I've talked about the behind the scenes, how we deliver it. And I've given you a little hint on the client perspective in that I've shown you the traditional model versus our model so that you understand how the client's thinking. They're like, wow, this is different. So I don't have to coordinate all these people and I'm always going to be on track and there are not going to be any surprises and I'm going to be making better decisions. Like, yeah, what's all that worth to you? Those outcomes. Oh, okay. So you set your fee around just strategy and oversight, not necessarily the delivery of any of these services. So you're not actually doing any of these things. You're just making sure they get done. Now, what do you charge for that? I don't want to get into that very much in this video. We can talk about that in other videos. But, you know, in our firm, the average advisor is charging $36,000 per client per year, per family per year for that service, creating the strategy, coordinating the oversight, okay? And then they can either provide and do any of those additional services if they want to. Now, in my case, and it's totally optional, I have chosen to do this strategy and oversight. I'll step up and fill the gaps, and I'll provide the investment management at no extra charge, or we can coordinate with your money manager, Mr. and Mrs. Client. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just telling you, if there's some money that needs to be invested and we're not going to give it to your money manager, I'll handle it. Our fee covers the investment management. There's no additional. And then the other thing that we provide is tax preparation. Now, most advisors don't provide tax preparation. That's fine. I'm saying the whole thing's optional. You don't even have to provide investment management. You don't have to. Now, we are doing the financial planning. So that's the one piece that we are doing that we don't want the client doing separately, because that's just going to create tension. There's an overarching strategy that is more robust than anything this client has ever seen, much less had done for themselves. And we are going to be making sure that everything that's supposed to get done gets done. So we are taking charge of the planning and the strategies, and we charge, and then we add investment management and tax preparation, and we charge $45,000 per client per year for all of that, plus investment management and tax preparation. Single simple fee, $45,000. We meet 3 times a year. After each meeting, every 4 months, 3 times a year, I send out an invoice for $15,000. So every 4 months for the rest of the client's life, they're going to get an invoice from me for $45,000 per client per year, just for oversight and creating the strategy. And then in my case, I include the investment management and tax preparation. But let's say you didn't. Or let's say you did the financial planning, but not the investment management. Or let's say you did the investment management and the financial planning. So you can do whatever you want. All I'm saying is that just the strategy and the oversight, like the new business model that I worked out without doing any of those 5 things, you could be charging $25,000, $35,000 per year. The average is $36,000 of all the advisors we work with worldwide. Now let's flip it around. What I was getting at on this screen is, what is the client expecting? So rewind the tape, go back to the year 2000 when I first started exploring this, and we started gathering data on affluent clients. What do they want from a relationship with an advisor? What do they expect? And I was stunned. I ran focus groups. We really did a deep dive into, forget what the industry wants to call comprehensive financial services. Let's think, what do the clients want? What is it they expect? When they hear comprehensive financial services, what is it? And what would they pay the most for? Flat out went to the bottom line and did research on, okay, so what do you want the relationship to look like? And what would you pay the most for? Like if they were doing just a little bit above and beyond, what would you pay the most for? And so we got a clear idea of that. And that's how we created all this. The 10 client deliverables backed up by 142 deliverables checkpoints, managed by 5 subject matter experts. That whole system was designed by clients. It was not designed by me. It was designed by affluent families who told us, not only is this what we want, this is what we can't find. So the surprising part of this research is there are 4 key expectations. When you go through all the research and you think about what do affluent clients truly expect, there are 4 client expectations, but they have given up finding them. They don't think they can find a single firm anywhere to deliver on these 4 expectations. So what are the 4? All right. So the whole key to my program, the way we do it with our clients and the way we teach it with advisors is at the moment you're hired, in the meeting where you're making all these promises and how life's going to be different, you tell them, I'm going to make an advisor pact with you, Mr. and Mrs. Client. It's a pledge. I'm going to pledge 4 things to you. And it's the 4 expectations. So pact, yes, it's a pledge, but it's also an acronym to help us remember what it means. Protection, attention, coordination, transparency. So there you go. There are the 4 client expectations. These are the 4 things that clients say, yeah, this is what I expect. But these are the 4 things they swear they can't find anywhere, at any price, at any one firm. Now, can they find one of these 4 things at some firm? Yes. And I'm sure you're delivering at least one of these. Can you find a firm that delivers on 2 of these 4 things? It's starting to be rare. It's starting to be really unusual to find a firm that will commit to any 2 of these. But to find a firm that will commit and pledge, make a pact that I will deliver on all 4 of these things, that's never. You'll be the only game in town. You want to be radically differentiated from all of your competition so that, a client comes into you and says, I'm sitting down with you because I'm interviewing 3 or 4 financial advisors in town. And in the end, I'm going to select the one that I think's the best fit. That's great. I encourage you to do that. I think it's a really good process. And then at the end of meeting with them for your initial client interview, you can say with confidence that this is our pledge to every client. So I don't know precisely what you're looking for, Mr. and Mrs. potential client. But if what you're looking for is what I'm describing here, truly comprehensive financial services defined as 10 client deliverables with 142 deliverables checkpoints that we cycle through annually, delivered and managed by 5 experts in each of these fields, where we meet with you every 4 months like clockwork to guarantee that you'll never be off track. How do I know? Because we're meeting every 4 months. If you come in for one of our meetings and you have drifted a wee bit off track, which is normal, then you can assure yourself when you come into that meeting with us, we will have already prepared. Our team of 5 will have already prepared all the recommendations required to get you back on track. So I commit, you'll always be on track, or else we'll have already recommended how to get you back on track. So you can rest assured you'll be on track to your goals, because we're going to make sure of that. And we're proactive. Nothing falls through the cracks. You're never going to miss any planning opportunity. And I pledge no surprises, no financial surprises, and that are planning related. Now, can the market drop? Because that always comes up. Like, what about the war in Israel or whatever? What about world events and things? Yeah, I can't help it if somebody drops a nuclear bomb. I'm talking about you will never have a financial surprise that could have been saved by good planning. Okay. And then third, better decisions on all areas of finance. You will tell me at our annual review, it won't be me telling you, you'll tell me we are making substantially better financial decisions in all areas of finance. So what are these 4 things? These 4 things: protection, attention, coordination, transparency. You're going to make this pledge to all your ideal clients. And, these are the things that when they hear you reel these off, they're going to be thinking, I've never heard this before. Matter of fact, I didn't even think this was available anywhere. And so what are they? Well, protection is simple. It has to do with conflicts of interest. And it's not just your conflicts of interest, like, are you earning commissions off investments you're recommending? Yes or no? I don't have a horse in that race, and I don't care either way. But what you're pledging to them is you will protect them, so that if anybody ever recommends anything that is not perfectly aligned with their financial strategy or has undisclosed costs and expenses, let's just say hypothetically, that you pledge to protect them. So let's say their life insurance agent recommends some life insurance. Well, if it's not well aligned with the strategy, or if there's huge commissions that the client was unaware of, maybe we'll move forward recommending the insurance, and now the client knows the agent's going to make this many thousands of dollars. But either way, everything's going to be upfront and fully disclosed, so you will protect them. You've got their back. You're going to police all the advisors that are advising them, including ourselves. And you're going to make sure that all conflicts of interest are put out on the table for the client to see, so that they go into every financial decision with their eyes open, and they can feel assured that everything they do financially is well aligned with their overarching strategy and is upfront and fully disclosed in terms of costs and expenses and all of that. Okay, so that's protection. What's attention? Well, it's, you say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I'm going to pay attention more than any other advisor you've ever worked with. I'm going to make it my job to make sure that if you ever drift even a tiny bit off track, that our team is going to notice it and make recommendations to get you back on track. How? Because we're paying attention. And you're coming in frequently. You're coming in 3 times a year. So my pledge is that when you come in for major client progress meetings, I will have already prepared for you recommendations and action items that if you're off track, will get you back on track. Coordination. So I've got all these financial people in my life. I have an accountant. I have an estate planning lawyer. I have insurance agents. I've even got a stockbroker. Like, none of them ever talk. Who's going to pull all that together and coordinate these? Me. I raise my hand. It's part of our service. It's part of creating the strategy and providing the oversight. I will make sure that all the people on your team, including my team, talks to your team, and including your team talks to each other when necessary. So, I mean, if it's only once every year or two, there's some crossover issue that they need to collaborate on, I'll make sure it happens. I will be the one to ensure that every financial person and every financial product and service in your life is well coordinated with your overarching strategy. I'll be the one. And then we've already talked about this a little bit, but transparency. It showed up in the research that there are a segment of clients who are just very disheartened that they know there are hidden fees inside of all these financial products and services, but they've grown kind of frustrated. Affluent people are, as a group, are somewhat frustrated over the fact that they're not 100% sure they know what they're paying for all their stuff. So, and you hear this talking with affluent clients occasionally, like they'll have their money managed in a certain platform or something. And I'll ask them, so what are you paying for that? And they go, oh, I don't pay anything for that. I say, so it's free. And they go, yeah, I don't pay anything. So you think you're paying nothing for that money management service? And they say, yeah, that's right. But they know down deep there's no free lunch, that buried in there somewhere are hidden fees, and people are getting paid, and the money managers are getting paid, and the institutions are getting paid, and the financial advisors probably getting paid. They're skeptical because they know that something's up. They're just not sure what. So I'm going to be one. I close out my pledge by saying I will be the one to flush out all of that. I will create a report for you at least once a year, so you know exactly what you're paying for all these financial products and services, and what you're paying to all these people. So if you're not sure how you're compensating your auto insurance agent, we will work to flush that out so that you know. And that's all it is. It's just a transparency exercise. We're not calling anybody out. We're just doing what should have been done to begin with, which is be upfront and fully disclosed on everything, as far as especially fees and expenses. So you're the one that will shine a light in these dark corners so that the client knows exactly what they're paying every year. So protection, attention, coordination, transparency. Mr. and Mrs. New ideal client, this is my pledge to you. And as a result of this, and they don't need to know about the 10 client deliverables. They don't need to know about the 142 deliverables checkpoints. What they want to know are the action items required to implement the plan so that I can deliver on those 3 outcomes, that they're always on track to their goals, nothing's falling through the cracks, and they are making better financial decisions. And nobody's ever, for my experience is, let's say that, not every affluent family is looking for what I'm describing, but enough are to where you're a category killer. If you can implement what I just described, you'll be the only game in town. So, maybe not every multimillionaire is looking for this level of service, very high level of service. But for those who are, and there's millions of multimillionaire families out there that are looking for this level of service and swear it doesn't exist, okay? Is such a wide market for this that if you step up and start delivering at this level and you're the only game in town, can you now see how client acquisition and client referrals pick up, and that now you're playing a different game? Yeah, you're the only game in town because you're playing the game by a different set of rules. You have listened to the client as to what they want the relationship to be like. You've reverse engineered what we're calling comprehensive financial services around what clients prefer. And that's what you're delivering. You're giving clients exactly what they say that they want, and you're charging a premium for it. So there you have it. What I just went through is precisely step by step, exactly what we deliver to our clients. This is the trademark term, truly comprehensive financial services. If you can implement this on your own or start moving in this direction in a way that your clients benefit, you have my permission. I welcome you to do that. If you want to use our trademark terms and learn our proprietary client reports that are, reports in a format that the clients want rather than what the industry is saying they should look like, that's another thing that's on the top 5 complaints of clients, is that the reports are horrible. Like, the reports I get from my advisor and my institutions are not the information I want to see. But the point is, if you want to use our proprietary stuff, our trademarks, and all of everything I just went through, well, we have a program, and it's affordable. I mean, it's the only program that I'm aware of where the individual who created it and actually implemented it is the one training the program and is available in abundance to the program participants. It's one of the biggest gripes I had in programs as a financial advisor. Either the training was being provided by someone who had never implemented it, or maybe wasn't even a financial advisor ever, or it was created by a really talented financial advisor, but even when I'm in their high-end program, I never had enough access to them. Like, you don't see them very often, or at least not enough to make course corrections and get it all implemented properly. So I solved that. Our program is affordable, plenty of access to me. If that's something that interests you, then I recommend you reach out to us. But otherwise, take this information. I hope it helps. If anything I said can benefit you and your clients and your business, it's my gift to you. And I wish you all the best. Take care.